Hey everybody, my name is Roland Kays from North Carolina State University and the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. And today, I'm going to be giving you a tutorial for how to analyze data with the Snapshot USA analysis tool. We're going to be focusing on how to make groups and how to create activity graphs. And in later videos, I'll show you some of the other analyses. We'll start here. We've got a map of the United States and all the Snapshot USA data. So you can see we've got one dot over here in Hawaii, one dot over here in Alaska, and a whole lot of dots in the lower 48 United States. So each one of these dots is a place where we have a partner. It might be you, it might be your students, it might be your professor, it might be no one you know at all. But the data are all available. So you can click on this and it'll tell you the name of that array at that particular site. So you can see where we have data that you're able to explore. We run these cameras every year since 2019. We make the data publicly available as soon as we can, so you can look at patterns over space and maybe trends over time. So we're going to start with activity graphs. You can see the different analyses here. We're going to start with activity. And so you pick your analysis. The next thing is, well, what group of data are you going to analyze? And we have a couple just little starter ones to get you started. So let's just try black and brown bears. So now we've created two groups here, black bear, brown bear, generate graphs. Boom. There we have an activity graph. You can see the blue dots are places on the map that have data from black bears, and the red dots are places that have data from brown bears. We can see this pattern already just from here, but we can also zoom in a little bit, and this is kind of cool. So we've got black bears are active more during the day. The brown bears are really, you can see here, 6 o'clock morning, noon, evening. Now, all these data come from September and October, which is roughly the similar amount of daylight hours across the country. It's not perfect, of course, but not massively shifted sunrise and sunset times. So we have a pretty good idea that 6 and 18 are sunrise sunset. And we can see that in this case, black bears are way more diurnal. And brown bears have quite the morning peak, whereas black bears don't so much and have more of an evening peak. So this is a nice, quick, easy way to see some activity patterns for the species. We can also, if we want to see the data that was used to make that graph, you can click this View Data Table, and there's the data, each hour of the day and how many detections they have. You can also download this as a CSV if you want to make your own graphs or start comparing groups. So that's going to be super important. One note here, you can see the data that's used, right? Each hour of the day, how many detections by black bears, how many detections by brown bears. This has 200, but you notice this axis only goes up to 100. So they're scaled. The graph is scaled. 100 is the highest for one species or the other species. So every species will always go to 100 and they're scaled, whereas these are absolute numbers. So just keep that in mind if you're going to be making your own graph. Okay, so that was a shortcut, but let's do, probably you're going to want to add your own group. So you're going to hit here and say, let's add a group. So now we've got our options. Let's look at this. Here's our species. Here's our years. And these are our arrays, right? So each one of these dots is not just one camera. It's an array of cameras. It might be 10, 25, some even maybe 50 cameras, but all in one area, all in one relatively confined area. So it's a good sample of that particular area. And you can see all the different arrays. There's 333 arrays from all 50 states plus one, DC. And so we're going to select. And so what I'm going to do, let's go up here and let's just pick American black bear. Blink. So now we got one species selected, one out of 122. And down here it says American black bear everywhere, save as a single group, save group. Now I'm going to get rid of these other ones. And we'll just quickly look at this. Should be the same graph we saw before. Yeah, so now we just have black bears. Okay, great. But now let's change that group. It's easier sometimes to hit edit. So this is another, we could pick only one location, but here's a pretty cool thing we have. Select a pre-configured template. Habitats, development level, protected areas, or unprotected areas. So let's try urban. Now it says American black bear, urban sites, save. Cool. Now I'm going to get rid of the everywhere, And let's edit and let's select suburban, save, edit, select rural, save, edit, select wild, save. So now we can see I've got urban, suburban, rural, wild, all black bears. Let's generate these graphs and see what we've got. So here now it's showing you how many observations we have for each category. And oh my God, look at this graph. It's terrible. This is a mess. So let's look a little closer. And what we can see is for the urban sites, we only had 18 observations. That's not really enough to do a good camera trap activity analysis. And you can see on this map, right, all the dots are now color coded based on their level of development. There's just not that many bears in urban areas. So we don't have enough data to really do a good job. And even the suburbans, 91 for a complicated pattern, that's maybe not quite enough. So I'm just going to delete these. And let's just do wild and rural, generate graph. Now we have a little bit of a more clear pattern. Overall, pretty similar, but this interesting different peak between wild and rural sites where the rural sites have a morning peak on sort of later in the day, and the wild sites don't really as much. Now, if you're bummed, and maybe we could combine urban and suburban together, where you can download the data yourself, and you can do that yourself and graph it yourself. Okay, so now we've done some of those. I've shown you those cool. I want, I haven't tried this yet, but I do want to try. Let's go back to American Black. I don't know if this one's going to work. I didn't try this one ahead of time, but we just got this new protected area, unprotected area thing going. So let's try bears in protected areas, and then let's edit pre-configured group, bears in unprotected areas, save group. Okay, so there they are, scattered across the country. Generate graphs. Okay, let's see. Pretty similar. Looks like protected sites are a little bit more active in the morning than unprotected sites, but otherwise pretty similar. Okay, I didn't know it would get there. Cool. All right, so the next thing I want to do is let's just look at one array, right? So let's delete. Let's just let's look in Montana. There's some cool sites here. They're still colored by development level, or by protected area. So Missoula has a lot of bears. Missoula, Montana. It's a medium-sized city. So let's add black bear all years. We're sticking with all years for now. We can just type in MT, what was it called? MT urban wild. There it is. So I'm going to only select one. So there it says, oh no, we've got too many selected. Select all, unselect. There we go. MT urban wild. Okay. So now we've got American black bear, MT urban wild. Select a single group, generate graph. Okay, so that's interesting. Look at these bears in the city, in one particular city, no daytime activity. That's cool. And we can see we've got 44 observations. Now, if we wanted to compare it, maybe we want to compare it to these other sites. Here's 3 other sites that are nearby, so similar bears, but not urban. And what we can do is, let's go back to here. And this time I'm going to show you, we're going to select black bear. And we're going to use this polygon because we want to grab all 3 because one might not have enough data. So we can draw the polygon on the map. Select all 3. It's got, you can see now it's automatically selected the arrays that are in there, in that polygon. And it's listed them here. Save as a single group, generate graphs. You can see 44 observations, 123 observations. And in this case, the bears on these other sites are much more active during the day than the Missoula ones and much less active during the night. So that's kind of cool. But what about other species? Well, we can really quickly let's just edit this one, keep those ranches selected. Instead of black bear, let's go down and pick white-tailed deer, save group, and for the other location, white-tailed deer, Get rid of the black bear, save group, right? So get rid of this one. So now we've got white-tailed deer at those 3 sites and white-tailed deer at in Missoula. Plot this, and now also, cool. White-tailed deer in the urban site is red, less active during the day, and their morning peak and their is more shifted towards the early hours, and their afternoon peak is more shifted towards the nighttime hours, whereas these other more rural animals are more active during the day. So pretty interesting that we've just found, just in a couple minutes of exploring, some pretty interesting patterns in black bears and white-tailed deer, comparing at a couple places and comparing across the country. So I hope you see the types of questions you can ask with activity data. I'm sure you'll come up with lots more. And so give it a try and be sure to check out the next video. We'll get into some of the next analyses, including occupancy and detection rate, species richness, and environmental correlations.